Hello there and welcome to issue number 126, and this issue is all about the Aries snake, and as you can see on the caption prior to the video, those are all the dates you have to be in this Western Eastern astrological combination. Any questions or anybody wanting to know what was 12 years previous to the first date I put up, 24, 36, etc., just drop me a line, any comments, any messages on the video, they're very, very welcome. Okay, let's start straight away then. With the Aries snake as a child. We spoke about the snake and how adaptable and easygoing they are, and really how easy they are to raise. You know, they just go along with their parents' plans. They don't mind going into work with their parents when they have to. They're just so really, really easygoing child. And with the Aries, well, we spoke about they're a little bit helter-skelter. They like to be busy. They like to be rushing here, there and everywhere, trying out things, quite pioneering in spirit, and they really are quite a bit of a daredevil as well. But when you marry the two together, you really do get a relaxed Aries. You get one that is a lot more chilled back, very much so. They're not so helter-skelter. The charm of the snake really does ring through here as well. So you've got a much more even Aries. You have one that's full of charm and just full of a real kind spirit. But as I say, step real back into the mix, and they like to meld in with the children around them. They get on very well. They're very popular. But as I say, on an even level, whereas the Aries may be, as I say, rushing here, there and everywhere. They're not like that, and they have a real broad band of friends that they come across, as I say, very even-tempered. The Aries will never attack unless they are the first punch or whatever is thrown at them. So the Aries is just a defensive creature, but armed with the snake in there, they are quite dangerous, so you have to be very, very careful in that essence. But they will never attack without provocation, and that's as simple as that. They won't get involved in fights, confrontations, unless it really, really is sat on their lap. They do tend to avoid it, and they can avoid it easily because of their even temper, their balance and their poise. As we're going through their lives, we're going to the college and university years. Yes, I can see them doing this, very much so, because the Aries does know the importance of education, very much so, but the snake has a little bit more of a laid-back view about it. They may sort of excel in just one subject rather than having plenty of subjects, so you could very well have a child on your hands that is just particularly excellent in one, but very average in others. So, but that's just the way they are. That's the snake's doing. The snake likes to maybe delve into more unusual, shall we say, subjects. So slightly, maybe your sciences, they do like them a lot, and they also really do like physical activity as well. But there'll be more of a balance with the Aries. They've become, I think, a better sportsman because of it, because there's not just the rushing around, there's the conserving of energy. With the thoughtfulness of the snake there's a bit more conserving of energy. It makes them a more thoughtful sports person. So they will enjoy that at school very, very much. If we look at this combination as they're going through and they're going into, let's say, the relationship years, when we want to come across these in the later teens, you're going to have a combination that is really quite eager to please, and a lot to their detriment really, because they have got a lot of depth, but they probably don't show this when it comes into the relationships. They're quite eager to please, and they do get involved in quite a few relationships that are not really, they're not really cut out for. It's not that, it's just that they think, well, I like to see people happy, and they get used a little bit because of this. And not only that, they know they are being used a little, but they tend to not want to really change that, because they, well, as long as I'm seeing them happy, it takes away from themselves. But they have a lot of depth, they have a lot of philosophical abilities as well the older they get, and there's a lot of deepness here. So On the surface they might seem, as you say, very even-tempered, very go-with-the-flowish, but they do get involved, unfortunately, with the wrong people sometimes, and this is, this isn't good for the Aries, because the Aries, this is where we want that to shine through, where it's a bit more forthright and saying, no, I'm keeping away from that, I'm not delving in this. Whereas the snake, because it's so adaptable and lets the Aries just flow in and flow along, it may get it involved in things that, are a little bit on the shady side, which is a shame really, because we really need to get to the depth of this sign. We need the depth of this sign to come out. So, how do we get there? Well, we need, close friends around them. We need their family really, like, keeping an eye out for them in this vulnerable era going into their 20s. It's a very vulnerable time for the Aries snake, where, their future can be decided or lost within that sort of 3 to 3 year span. It could be potentially vulnerable to drugs, which, very un-Aries like, but it can happen, and this is what happens when you get the amalgamation of the two signs in the one person. They are a very different Aries, but what they have is that a tendency to delve and go deeper, and they need that association to bring out the best in them. This brings out all the great attributes, so we need a lot of friends looking out for them, and Aries snake, keep those friends around you when you're into this vulnerable area, and your family very close too. They're very, very vital. And once we get that philosophical side out in the open, you will be open to meeting the right person, absolutely, because you've gotten to know yourself, the depth you can go to. It's not just okay to be this even keel who floats along, with that depth and that knowledge. You could be a fantastic historian, philosopher, poetry, it's wonderful. Music is very wonderful as well. Into dance. There's so many areas of the arts, but sometimes I don't always delve there and find this out until it's too late. This is where I want them. I want them going deep. I want them finding those people around them. Then they're going to be open up to the right person, which is so very vital to this combination. As I've said about the dangerousness, yes, there is a dangerousness here, but they much prefer to avoid confrontation, and it's only whether it's really sat on their lap will they then strike or attack, and they have to be attacked first. So they're not really going to come out and say, I'm not that happy, or I'm disenchanted with what's going on. They're probably just continue along the same road, so we need to change that track. We need the Aries to make them a little bit more forthright, to say, no, let me move on, let me forward on, because once we get to that point, in the middle 20s, is where they're better learning stages. This is when, it's a lot better for them to pick up subjects, etc., and they probably will do their absolute best, being a late student, going through a lot later, and they will probably find that they do much better than in the earlier years. So if we look at the combinations of signs that would be the best for the Aries snake, well, we have to look at the roosters, because this is intellectually, philosophically, the depth that the snake needs. The rooster has it. They have all of that, and once they find each other, they never ever look back, and it allows the snake, with all that vivacity and all that charm, to be really harnessed in a positive way, and they don't get used by the rooster. There's a very, very strong bond here, mentally as well. So even when they're apart, if they have to carry this relationship on from any distance, there's such a depth of the mind that it's easy for them to carry on. There's much loyalty when these two are together as well. They don't have to worry about infidelities as well when these two are together, because both are very, very, very sexual. So they find what they need in their partner, and they don't look very far after they've found each other. So let's look for the Gemini rooster, the Leo rooster, the Sagittarian rooster, and the Aquarius booster, wonderful, wonderful matches. And also, we've got to look at the Oxen. We have to stay in the Oxen family because you will really love having your Oxen friends and ultimately a great Oxen partner around you because of their strength, their discipline, their need for routine. It really helps the Aries snake to get some structure into their life and say, okay, they're very defensive as well, the Oxen towards you, so that's fantastic. Yes, you have intellectual conversation. There will be quieter times, but there'll be real good times to spend together and just have that little bit of unspoken word where there's a lot of unity in the sense of touch and just a togetherness, and that the snake gets structure in their life, which is so vital sometimes, and they'll be so glad when they meet this Oxen. So let's look at the right Oxen, and the right Oxen is going to be the Gemini, it's going to be the Leo, the Sagittarian and the Aquarius. They are the top in the Oxen family. If we look at the ones to avoid, well, we really have to avoid pigs at all costs for snakes, and especially this one really, because as I've said, where that flow's going, and when it can, sometimes they're delving into some areas and they come across a pig, they will take advantage of that pig. The Aries snake isn't like that, as we've said, but they will do with the pig. It's just nature and it happens. Then we have a real lot of mess and stuff sometimes that we can't come back from, which we really have to avoid that. So pigs at no cost, and it's for both sides. I'm not just saying this for snake, I'm saying this for the pig as well. It's both for your well-being, absolutely. The pigs physically and definitely the snakes mentally is such a harmful relationship. If we look at health, well, as I said, in them floaty years, in them floaty teenage years, towards the latter part, 17s, 18s, 19s, we have to be very wary we're not involved with the drugs crowd, a drinking crowd, but excessiveness, and floating along, let's not, keeping out of these quick sexual relationships, which go hand in hand sometimes with the wrong crowd, and just throw away stuff that is going to be very harmful psychologically later on. You don't necessarily pay them, but later on you can pay psychologically. So really, really look after your mental health here. It's a combination which, with the stuff that goes on, can affect them so many years down the line, and that is vital for this. We have to avoid anxiety attacks, panic attacks later on, and very quite serious ones. So please look after that mental health there, Aries snake, and find the right person. It's vital, and get the right people around you. Thank you for listening in on this issue, and please join me for the next one. Thank you.